The cleaner moved swiftly along the marble floor, her trolley rolling quietly behind her. She adjusted her gloves and straightened a vase on the counter when the telephone on the reception desk rang sharply. She glanced around. No receptionist in sight. For a moment she hesitated, then, out of instinct and courtesy, she lifted the receiver. "Godemiddag, Hotel Regent, hoe kan ik u helpen?" she said smoothly in Dutch, her voice polite yet confident. There was silence on the other end, followed by a man's delighted chuckle. She handled the brief exchange with ease, jotting down a message in neat handwriting before gently setting the receiver back. Unaware, just a few steps away in the lobby lounge, a sharply dressed millionaire had been watching. He lowered his newspaper slightly, his sharp eyes narrowing with curiosity. A hotel cleaner, answering in flawless Dutch. He smiled faintly, intrigued, already thinking about her beyond the uniform she wore. The cleaner returned to her work as if nothing unusual had happened, dusting the corners of the lobby and adjusting the fresh flowers in the vases. But in the quiet space, she couldn't shake the tiny knot of worry forming in her stomach. What if I overstepped? What if the manager finds out I answered the phone? From the far side of the lounge, the millionaire set his paper aside and rose slowly, his shoes clicking softly on the polished floor. He approached the front desk and leaned in, speaking in a low, casual tone to the manager who had just returned. "That young woman," he said, gesturing discreetly toward the cleaner who was arranging a stack of magazines, "she speaks Dutch." The manager blinked in surprise. "Yes, sir. She's from a small town where she picked it up working with tourists. But here, well, she's just part of the cleaning staff." The millionaire's gaze lingered on her for a moment longer. He nodded, his expression unreadable, though his curiosity was unmistakable. Meanwhile, the cleaner caught a glimpse of him speaking to the manager and quickly looked away, her heart skipping. She bent lower over her work, pretending to be deeply focused, though her thoughts raced. Was it about the phone call? Will I be scolded? Or was it something else? The air in the lobby felt heavier than usual, though she couldn't explain why. The next morning, as she polished the brass handles on the glass doors, the head receptionist approached her with a polite but firm smile. "Maria," she said softly, "the gentleman in suite 701 has requested to see you. He asked for you by name." Maria froze, her cloth clutched tightly in her hand. Her pulse quickened. Suite 701, that's the millionaire. What could he possibly want with me? She nodded silently, smoothed her uniform nervously, and followed the receptionist toward the private elevator. The ride up felt endless. Every hum of the machinery echoed her doubts. She replayed yesterday's phone call in her mind, wincing. Did I embarrass the hotel? Was he offended? When the elevator doors slid open, she stepped into a quiet corridor lined with plush carpets and soft golden light. The receptionist gestured toward the grand double doors. "He's waiting inside," she whispered, then left her alone. Maria inhaled deeply, her palms damp. She raised her hand, knocked gently, and a rich, calm voice answered from within, "Come in." Pushing the door open, she stepped into a spacious suite where the millionaire sat by the window, sunlight streaming over his tailored suit. He set down a cup of coffee and studied her with a steady, almost kind gaze. She lowered her head respectfully. "You asked to see me, sir." A pause, then a faint smile touched his lips. "Yes, I did. Please, sit. I'd like to ask you something." Maria's chest tightened. She took a cautious step forward, bracing herself for whatever was about to unfold. Maria perched on the edge of a velvet chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. She could feel the weight of his gaze, steady but not unkind, as he leaned forward slightly. "You surprised me yesterday," the millionaire began, his voice calm, almost conversational. "A hotel cleaner, answering the phone in perfect Dutch. That is not something I see every day." Her cheeks warmed. I'm sorry if I overstepped, sir." The phone kept ringing, and no one was there. "I only wanted to help." He raised a hand, gently dismissing her worry. "On the contrary, you impressed me. Fluency in languages is rare, especially here. Tell me, how many do you speak?" She hesitated, then admitted softly, "4, sir. Dutch, English, a little French, and of course, my own." For a moment, silence hung between them. Then he leaned back in his chair, his smile widening with genuine interest. And yet, you clean floors. His words were not mocking, but filled with quiet disbelief. Maria's eyes dropped. Opportunities are few, sir. Education is expensive. I take what work I can. The millionaire studied her, his mind already turning. Finally, he spoke with a firmness that made her lift her head. You shouldn't be scrubbing hotel lobbies. You have talent that deserves to be seen. I could arrange something. Perhaps a position as my assistant, where your languages will serve you, and where you will learn more than you ever could with a mop and broom. Maria's breath caught. For a second, she wasn't sure if she had heard him correctly. The room seemed to still, her doubts and fears mixing with a sudden, fragile spark of hope. She whispered, almost trembling, "Do you truly mean that, sir?" He nodded once, his eyes unwavering. "I never waste my time with words I don't mean." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes, but she blinked them away quickly, a shy smile breaking through. For the first time in years, she felt the door to a different life slowly opening, one she never imagined would be hers. And it all began with a single phone call answered in Dutch.